Well, we got a busy man here today because he is with United and he is their treasurer, and they got a lot of meetings coming up for the budget season. So I'd like to welcome Gary Morrison, and you've got a few things to talk about. Obviously, you're going to talk about some financials, but yeah, this is a busy time of the year.
Very busy.
Yeah.
And before I start, I hope everyone had a good Memorial weekend and had fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start out by saying our financials for the end of the year were audited by KPMG for 2018, and in their opinion, the statements were presently and fairly presented in all material respects, and the position of the United Laguna Woods Mutual as of December 31st, 2018 and 2017. The results of operations and cash flows for the years ended are in accordance with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. And as you're aware, we had a reserve study by Association Reserves, and they recommended we have annual full funding contributions of $11,820,000. The current rate is $11,229,648, with a difference of $590,352. So that's $93.36 a year per manor, or $778 a month. So we're looking at maybe an $8 per month increase in our monthlies to cover our budget reserves. We're going to go on now to the statement of revenues and expenses. Our income statement as of 4/30/2019, our actual revenue to date was $14,123,029 compared to the budget year to date of $13,609,982. So we were better than budget by $513,047. Mainly due to property taxes and supplemental property taxes of $433,000 more than the budgeted amount. We had $70,000 for fees charged to residents, $55,000 interest income, and we had a loss of $42,000 in resale processing fees. And that's because our sales have been down. We also were down in additional occupant fees of $10,000. So our actual expenses year to date were $14,077,847 compared to budget of $14,263,772. So we were better than budget by $185,926, mainly due to less expenses than budgeted in the areas of compensation and compensation-related expenses. We had $68,000 more expenses in materials and supplies. We had less expenses in utilities and telephone of 9%, which is mainly due to less water usage. So those were the main reasons for our change. So the operating fund shows an operating surplus of $45,000 through the reporting period. So $13,471,000 of this are from assessments, $652,000 are coming from non-assessment revenues. This is compared to the operating expenditures of $14,078,000. After backing out depreciation, which is not funded through operations, we see a bottom surplus of $45,000. The most significant variable variances from budget were attributed to outside services, which were $523,000 because of timing. Budgets are spread evenly over the year, and therefore items like tree trimming are done in only certain parts of the year, so therefore it appears like we're better off than we really are at this point in time. Our compensation, employee compensation, $177,000 due to vacancies in maintenance and construction services. union medical costs coming in lower than budgeted. Further, less participation in non-union retirement and lower workers' comp insurance payments than anticipated. An offsetting variance included materials and supplies of a negative $256,000. This variance was due to the timing of water heater replacements because we are addressing a backlog of water heater replacements this year. Our non-assessment revenues received to date of $80,000 by category, starting with our largest revenue category, fees and charges to residents, followed by interest income, laundry revenue, and so forth. Our balance sheet as of the end of April, $78,545,488. Our prior year was $78,334,314. So the balance sheet decrease to date is $211,174. Our operating fund, $57,156,739, contingency fund $2,623,857, and our replacement fund of $18,764,892, which totals $78,545,488. Our changes in fund balances. Preliminary, our operating fund was $416,342, contingency a minus $37,642, and a replacement $333,517 for a total of $45,183. Our delinquency report as of May 21st, we had a current month count of 12 for 106,768. Our prior month was 14, 105,940, which was down 2, and so, but we were up $828. We have 6 files that are with collection agents. We have 1 approved payment plan. We have 2 files submitted to legal counsel. We have 1 lender foreclosure, and we have 2 maintaining a balance below $1,800. Chargeable services delinquencies, current month 25 at $147,646, prior month 22 at $131,573. So we're up 3 and up $16,073 from the previous month. Our monthly resale report, we had this year to date 92. Last year, it was 114, so we're actually down 22 sales from a year ago, or 19%. Our sales volume as of April 2019 is $24,957,351. Our sales volume as of April 2018, $32,054,840, so we're down $7,097,489, or 22%. Average resale price year to date is $269,000. Average resale price last year to date, $281,000. So we are actually down 11, almost 12,000, or 4% year to date change. Our monthly leasing is 9%. Pretty much staying stable as the last few months. Excuse me. We have been working on a payment plan form to be updated for language to clarify that the interest is calculated on unpaid delinquent assessments and not fines or fees. So a motion was made and passed to recommend that the board approve a monthly administration fee of $25 and replace the one-time setup fee of $50 per payment plan. The motion was made, carried unanimously to recommend that the board adopt the proposed payment plan agreement. Assessment form and policy resolution was presented. The payment plan for delinquent assessments, the governing docs review requested changes. The payment plan is on a case-by-case basis. Mutual is under no obligation to grant requests. the Finance Committee voted to initiate an interest rate of 12% per year and a one-time administrative fee of $50. I wanted to discuss the recognition agreement. As most of us have probably heard or seen, the Orange County Register had an article a couple weeks ago which stated that United would not allow banks to come in here other than one bank, NCB. This is not true, and I am all for competition. Now, what the difference is, in Third, you have a condominium which you can obtain a mortgage on that condominium. In what we have in United, we get a loan. It's not a mortgage because we have a share of stock. So it's not something that the bank can come in and repossess a unit because we have a share of stock and we have a right to occupy the unit. So United has had approximately 24 banks that have requested to come in here, and then as soon as they see the recognition agreement, they back out and don't want to be involved. And that's because NCB has made that agreement that if they're funding or carrying the loan and we have the people do not meet their obligations on a monthly basis, then NCB steps in and makes that monthly payment for them. Now, most banks don't want to get involved in that. So the Register, Orange County Register, did not report the whole truth to the lending procedure. So I just wanted to get that out there so that people didn't think that we were anti-competition. Golf cart charging violations. Motion made and carried unanimously, recommending that the board approve the golf cart policy to include a fine for golf carts cited using mutual electricity without an annual electric golf cart decal. Damage reimbursement fee. This is to impose a monetary charge as a means of reimbursing the association for costs incurred to the repair of damage to common area caused by a member or a member's guest or tenant. The Finance Committee voted to impose a 10% reimbursement cost for all reimbursement values over $1,000. The Investment Task Force, as I've stated for a couple months, we haven't met because we've had some of the members have been very ill, and so we're going to be meeting again in June. We want to make sure that we have a vendor that is working with our best interests at heart and using our funds appropriately. And we basically want to do is lower our monthly charges for managing the account. It's the financial qualification policy was voted down. And this was to reinstate guarantors for a guarantor policy change, and that was voted down. We are currently reviewing the solar package, and so that is a task force which is being presided over by Sue Margolis, and they are looking at our solar contracts from the past, finding out if JCI has appropriately been abiding by the contracts. So we'll have more on that later. Roundup will no longer be used in the village. We have found a substitute which is a rather minor amount of money, has been tested and seems to work well, so that will be changing. The election schedule was introduced. It was a contract to Unilec to perform the inspectors of the election for services in 2019 annual meeting. Non-smoking policy is going to be voted on, or it's in a 30-day right now. And the non-smoking policy states that smoking is only permitted in the interior of the manor with windows and doors closed. There's no smoking in any common area. We also talked about a policy for distribution of materials by residents and resident organizations. Civil Code 4515 went into effect January 1st of 2018, and which basically allows all of our owners to utilize the common areas for meetings and gatherings and canvass and petition within the community pertaining to association elections and legislation. Revisions to gutters and downspouts. We have a problem on our buildings, and so we're going to be addressing this. And anyone who is themselves putting in downspouts or whatever, they must proper drainage, such as a dry well or onto the pavement or splash block, routes the water 5 feet downhill from the foundation of the building and onto properly graded soil. Dry wells must be 5 feet from the buildings if possible. We at United are going to be addressing downspouts and drainage basically because right now we have a lot of water that's causing damage to our foundations, so we want to get that taken care of. There's a payment plan for chargeable services. There'll be an administrative fee for the repayment of penalties and fees for chargeable services, and they'll pay an administrative fee of $25 for every month the agreement is in effect. They'll be responsible for the payment of attorney's fees, costs, interest, late fees, and assessments incurred on the undersigned owner's assessment account before the agreement, and the assessment will be deemed paid in full. Private caregiver policy, that's going to pretty much stay the same. Caregivers will be allowed in the village, and policy will have to be adhered to. We authorized a supplemental appropriation of $105,000 from the contingency fund to provide fumigation and hotel accommodations during the 2019 fumigation program at an estimated cost of $216,000. The budget was originally $218,000, and it was reduced, and the number of buildings requiring tenning has increased. I want to also say an HO6 insurance policy is, and I say this every time I'm on, make sure you have an HO6 policy to protect yourselves in case of a leak or a fire that is caused in your residence and infringes on someone else. Moisture intrusion, I think we're getting a hold on this. We're starting to see that our sewer line remediation is starting to show that we're reducing our expenditures monthly. We're going to start supply line remediation next year, and this will be escalated once the waistline remediation is under control or completed. The handyman program right now is working, we're having more expenses than income, and this is going to be addressed at our budget meeting to see what we're going to do, if we have to increase, or just exactly what we're going to do with it. Flood buzz was voted. We're not going to address the purchase of flood buzz for the water heater, sinks, and toilets. Cost of living, which I brought up, was of 3%, was denied. So we'll not be adding that into the budget. And I'm going to just quickly do from the, I'm on the GRF Finance Committee. And so the income statement revenue was $14,229,000 compared to the budget of $14,878,000. So it was worse than budget by $449,000 due to less rounds of golf played, less trust facility fees, less rounds of golf also presented itself to lower merchandise sales. Clubhouse rentals and event fees were also down. Actual expenses year-to-date, $13,406,000 compared to a budget year-to-date of $13,838,000, resulting, we're better than budget by $432,000 due to timing. And that's it.
Okay. All right, lot to report. I thank you very much, and again, busy time for all of you.
I'm on my way to M&C budget now, which is going to be all day.
All right, and you have a good day, a good weekend.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Gary.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.